Oh, good morning. As we are live on this Saturday morning, but there are people that watch this that don't see it live, so it's not Saturday morning. If you want to make sure you know when we're on live, always subscribe to YouTube. But let me first tell you, because we've got a lot of things going on. We have a lot of things going that I want to talk about this morning because me, you, Mark Lawrence is going to join us to get a preview of what to look for on how to make your wagers with football season coming up. I see there's already people out there that are sending me messages. Good morning to you as well. And I want to tell you that this fine show is brought to you by the wonderful people at Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff Stillwell's the guy. I'm telling you, every time I talk to him, I always get another piece of advice on investments for the future, what to do with your wealth, your money, whatever it is that you want to invest for the future. Uh, so uh, he's the guy. I mean, he's really the guy. Good guy, straight up, knows his knows his stuff for sure. And if you want his advice and you want him to do some really good things for you, so you can call Jeff Stillwell at 732-343-0813. That's 732-343-0813. And thanks to Jeff Stillwell, and thanks to you, and thanks to the people that have already joined the program that have sent messages. You can join the program with me and talk to me. You don't have to, you don't want to be on camera. You don't have to be on camera. You can turn the camera off, but you got to make sure you have the audio on when you click on to the link that is out there on the social media platforms that you can click on to. Adam's proud of himself that he made the show live. You got Chris, Adam, RG, JC, BR. You got a bunch of people. But here's the things uh, that we're going to talk about this morning. The Phillies. Did they do enough? I know everybody is, all chunked up, and the Phillies have this light show when Johan Duran comes into the game, which he came into in the first game that he was with the Phillies. Oh, we got. So now we can look forward to a light show. How about Bryce Harper getting a damn hit? How about that? Does that work for you? Would you rather have the light show or Bryce Harper be worthy of the three spot in the lineup? That's that's really my issue. Are the Phillies good enough now since they're so proud of themselves? And I think the front office broke their hands patting themselves on the back, getting Duran. Let me tell you, everybody had a chance to get him, and other teams needed relievers. So whether the Phillies gave up, I'm not a big Abel fan. So trade Abel, I don't care. We showed, or the Phillies had shown us that he wasn't ready. He had a couple of good starts. I think a couple. He had at least one, and then he fell apart at the major league level. So the catcher they gave up is probably a decent prospect. Um, but Marshawn, I like Marshawn, and I don't know uh, if JT Realmuto will be here next year. I don't think you can pay him. You got to pay Schwarber. Schwarber's going to get well over $100 million for 3 years. There's no question. He's going to get well over $100 million. Do the Phillies want to do that? Uh, it's just I'm not sure. But are the Phillies good enough to get to the World Series? That's one of my questions with what they did. They got Harrison Bader along with Duran. Harrison Bader. Do you know Harrison's Bader? I think this is his sixth team in 9 years. If Harrison Bader was that bleeping good, he wouldn't be with six teams in 9 years. Is he a good but Adam, John Middleton has a terrible haircut. That's not nice. He may have a terrible haircut, but that's still not nice. Uh, uh, it, I know it's tough to get three impact players at the deadline. I don't know that they got one possible impact player who won't play every game because the closer doesn't pitch every game. But they needed somebody in that lineup. And Bryce Harper gets thrown out of the game against Detroit in the first game. You know why he got thrown out? Because he was embarrassed. He hadn't gotten a hit. He struck out, whether he thinks it was a check string, by the replay. By the replay, it was not a check swing. You know, just suck it up, just suck it up and get the hell off the field. You know, just to make a display like that, when you struck out, you were fooled on the breaking ball. You thought you held up, but you know, it used to be people thought, well, you had to break your wrists to have it be a swing. No, you just have to cross the plane of the plate. And when you look at the replay, he crossed the plane of the plate. He struck out. He struck out. All right. But are the Phillies good enough? I'm not so sure they're good enough. Uh, I really am not sure that the Phillies are good enough. Um, uh, it's, and I'm not sure that they're good enough because they still have a problem in their lineup. They were down 3-0. They struggle to score runs. Bryce Harper used to be a three-hole hitter. He would hit home runs, drive in runs. He doesn't do that. He doesn't do that anymore. So the Mets got two closers. Now the Mets lost the first game after they got their two closers. They got somebody for center field. So they spent some money. Not that money is the end all be all. All right. So I still think that in the National League, the American League has a bunch of good teams. In the National League, the American League has a bunch of good teams that are better than the Phillies. I think the Mets, the Cubs, and Milwaukee are better. People like what San Diego did. Uh, I'm not so sure that I like what San Diego did, but I just don't. I'm just not ready to say that the Phillies. I'm not ready to say that the Phillies are going to the World Series because of what they did. I still, and Bryce Harper makes it. He panders so much to the fans, and the fans suck it up. They love it. Bryce Harper's comment when they got Duran. Well, I can't wait to see him pitch in October. Hey, brother, you got to get to October first. Now the Phillies will make the playoffs, so they'll play a little bit in October, but you got to get to the World Series. I'm not so sure. I still think there's other teams better than the Phillies in when it comes to the playoffs, and we'll see how that all plays out. All right, we're also going to talk about the Eagles, Dallas Cowboy fans. You got to be really happy that Micah Parsons is becoming or is showing that the child that he is, all he cares about is the money. He doesn't care about winning. How about winning something before you say you want to trade? How about winning something? You want to trade because he's not going to get over $40 million. We'll talk about that. And we'll have a question today, so you can win the Chickies and Pete's gift certificate. We'll announce the winner from the last show. Daryl Morey again shows that he's a joke of a president and general manager. We'll get into all that stuff, and we'll get into you. And we know that Thursday night, the first football game, they only do it for television, and it is a complete disgrace. They don't play their starters because it's the extra game for the preseason, and the Hall of Fame game is a complete farce, But preseason football, not a lot of what you want to bet on. And we're going to have Mark Lawrence, and we're going to ask Mark to join the program now to explain to us what you should and what you shouldn't do in the preseason, and then what to look for. And what's that, Joe? Uh, uh, okay, okay. Is Mark there? Uh, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Why doesn't he have audio? Uh, I mean, he's used our service before, Restream. All right. The Eagles, when people have reports out of camp, they know what they're doing well. Uh, and when they run plays, but the people that watch get so excited whether it's ESPN or the local people, oh, Saquon Barkley had a great run. Saquon Barkley knows that he can't really get hit hard. Not that that would bother him in a football game, but it's just once you get past the line of scrimmage, I don't know that there's a lot that anybody's going to do, and that's the issue. So I don't know that there's a lot that anybody's going to do. Um, it's just it's not a big deal. All right, I saw Cowboy Jim. Was he waiting before Mark's got to get his connection? Uh, oh yeah. Let me tell you about our other. I have to. Not I have to. I want to tell you about our other sponsors. Our other sponsors, which are important to this program too. I should never forget about them, and I don't want to forget about them. Audi Westchester. See, I stopped into Audi this week, and the one thing I saw is they got a lot of cars. They have a lot of cars that have come in to their facility and to their dealership. There's a great selection. You have fun. How many people cannot have fun? You always have fun when you're looking for a car. You always have fun looking for a vehicle, and you will have fun at Audi Westchester because they got a whole bunch of new cars in there. Grab a cup of coffee, grab some snacks. The people there are fun. You look at all the vehicles they have, and they got a large selection. Let me tell you where they're located: 1421 Wilmington Pike. They will uh, uh, they will help you have fun. Not that you shouldn't have fun yourself. They will help you have fun. 1421 Wilmington Pike. Check them out. AudiWestchester.com. That's AudiWestchester.com. Also, I want to tell you about Piazza Property Pros because Piazza, now you waited too long. We're in the month of August and you waited too long. You wanted a pool. You thought about it. You thought, well, Piazza Property Pros can take care of that for you. And it's not too late to try to get that situation straightened out. So you might get it done by the end with still a little bit of the summer left, but you'll definitely have it there for next year. But the other thing that Piazza Property Pros can do with 25 years of experience, they don't subcontract excavation, landscaping, pool maintenance. They'll do it all for you. Piazza Property Pros, exceptional results, working within your budget. 610 566 610 566 2608. Piazza Property Pros will do it for you. Check them out at uh, check it out at piazzaoutdoor.com. So is Mark ready to roll or not ready to roll? Uh, okay. Okay. All right. Let's go to Cowboy Jim. For whatever reason, Mark has, but we'll talk to Mark, whether it be audio or video. Hey, you always look so ugly in the morning. You always look so ugly.
That's because I'm taking the dog for a walk. I'm tired.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Micah Parsons is an absolute baby. Micah Parsons now is creating more issues because he wants his money. That's what the Cowboys don't win anything. All they do is they want their money, and they don't win anything.
Not 90% of you Eagle fans want him. You want him.
No.
What will you give for me? What would you give for me? Come on. I want two of the best Eagle defenders. Go to the Cowboys, and you can have Micah Parsons.
Well, they don't want Micah Parsons. The Eagles don't want Micah Parsons.
90% of the fans want him.
Well,
everybody wants him.
You know what? If you listen to the fans, you're going to be sitting with the fans. The fans don't want Micah Parsons. That's not the issue.
Yes, they do.
Hold it. That's not the issue for Cowboys fans. The issue is he's creating problems. He's creating problems. That's the issue.
I don't think he's creating. This is all just a negotiation. That's all that's going on. It's just they're just fighting back and forth.
But they're not going to give him his money.
They'll give him his money, or they'll make a trade. Let's do a Herschel Walker trade. Let's do the big Herschel Walker trade. Let's trade him for somebody. I mean, it doesn't have to be the Eagles. but give me like 2 or 3 good defenders from another team, and that's fine with me. That's fine.
You're not making the deal.
Well, no
You are a
kidding.
dope. You are a dope.
No, I'm just
You're
saying.
not making the deal. Hold it now. Do you think the Cowboys? Don't you think the Cowboys are going to have problems because of Parsons?
No, they're not going to have. But listen.
Yes, they are.
I'm
All he
okay.
cares about is his money.
I'm okay with getting rid of him. I'm okay because all we talk about is how non-existent he is. The sacks that he gets are usually like at the end of the game, some trash sack or something like that. And then but everyone forgets that and they go, "Oh, well, he got 14 sacks or he got 16 sacks." But they're not like during crucial moments. Okay? And again, he's on the sidelines a lot too. So, but the hype of Micah Parsons can get me a good trade, can get some good players to the Cowboys. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking at. And I think Jerry looks at that too.
Well,
come on,
let me
genius.
tell you something. Jerry has misrun. That's not a word, but has not run his team properly to win.
No, that's not true. That is not true. They're not. They're not irrelevant. They're always in the news. They're always competing.
All right. Do you want to be in the news or do you want to win?
No, but they're always competing. And when Dak Prescott
do you want
goes
to
down,
compete or do you want to win in the playoffs?
Well, they want to win in the playoffs.
Okay,
but you got to be able
in the playoffs.
Okay, well, they're having a little issues there. Okay, they had some issues.
How many years? For how many years? The Cowboys. Let me just break this down for you in its simplest form. The Cowboys suck. They do. They suck.
And listen, and this story about like Schottenheimer making the players run because they're fighting too much. I mean, this fighting goes on all the time in this preseason stuff. So at least Schottenheimer's not making speeches about flowers.
I don't care about the fights. That happens in practice. Right. I don't care. But when you complain about money, you say you want to get away from the team. What does that say to your teammates?
Well, then maybe the teammates are ready to move on.
No. That's not an answer to the question. Because you don't have an answer because you're a moron.
Morons.
Cowboys fans are morons.
Your callers are morons. They can't figure anything out. They can't get online here. They can't get the audio straightened out. They're morons.
How many playoff wins do the Cowboys have in the last 15 years?
I'm going to say 5.
I don't even think it's 5.
I'm not keeping track of that kind of stuff.
Well, wouldn't you want to keep track?
Well, I keep track of Super Bowls and stuff like that. I keep track of that. Morons. The morons these days are Philly fans. They're the morons. Do you not look what just happened? All they cared about was the trade deadline, but you lost 2 out of 3 to the White Sox. Nobody is addressing that. And you think these 2 players are going to come along and just make them forget about what they just did? They can't hit.
You have completely dodged the real issue here. Because that's what Cowboys fans, they ignore the obvious because they don't know what the obvious is.
They'll be just fine this year. They'll be just fine. I moved on from last.
Wait a minute. You weren't we going to try to make a bet for charity?
Yes.
With the Cowboys winning the division?
But I also still owe you $100. So I guess it should be double or nothing. So the Cowboys will win the NFC East. They will win.
They will, huh?
They will. And I will bet you 100. Will double or nothing.
You and the rest of the Cowboys fans will always be cockroaches. All right. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Bye, dope.
I'm a dope. Has no clue that the Cowboys are clueless. No clue. All right. Let's hear from Mark Lawrence. Mark, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Howard. Unfortunately, we're having some audio connections, but I'm here on the podcast.
Well, we got your audio now. I've got your audio. We're on the show. I've got your audio. I'm putting you on, but we have no video, and we'll straighten that out before you're on every Saturday during the football season because people need help. You know who needs help? The players in professional sports need help, not to gamble on their own sport. Those players need help. So if you if you were one of the people that put 5 cents on that Hall of Fame game, how ridiculous were you to do that?
I think there's two sides to that story, Howard. And that you're wagering on preseason, and people say the same thing. It's not real football, and it's not. But it's also the only time a person can make a wager on one team that's coming to play against the other that's not coming to play. The problem is figuring out who's going to come and who's not. In the Hall of Fame game, you never know because you have no clue about who the rotations of the players are going to be. So I'm with you. I would not have invested 5 cents in the game.
Well, everybody plays backup players because it's an extra preseason game. Heck, nowadays, they don't even play a lot of their regulars in the regular preseason game. So it's just the fans for the preseason games, for the most part, get ripped off. But it's really for the kids to just watch a football game and be at their stadiums, and that's what it's all about. But as far as wagering, now there's a full slate of games. It starts next week for the preseason. Have you identified? And not a lot. Just take it easy. Don't get crazy with it. Have you identified which teams you play and don't play in the preseason?
Yeah, I have, Howard. What you do basically is you start with the head coaches.
Mm-hmm. And which teams? Which teams would you play and which teams would you not play?
Well, the coaches that come to play are obviously John Harbaugh, who has been terrific in his career up until last year when he really, really dropped an egg.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Carroll, he's back in the game with the Raiders right now. His career in the National Football League, he's been outstanding to the spread and straight up in preseason. He plays to win the games.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean McDermott, Buffalo Bills, the same way. He plays to win the games, and as a result, he covers the spread. Then you got the other three guys, what I call the terrible three, who don't give a hoot about preseason, and it shows it's a win-loss record. Those three are Dan Quinn from the Washington Commanders, Zach Taylor from Cincinnati, and surprise, Nick Sirianni, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, you know what? Let me just give you, and they don't announce anything because they don't want to, disappoint the fans when they come to the game. I'm going to tell you the game, but I don't know who Kevin Stefanski is going to play in the Cleveland game, the second preseason game, because they have a joint practice. They will, if Jalen Hurts plays more than one series, I would be absolutely not surprised, but shocked. Because they played against each other in practices. So the reason, we had enough work in practice that we don't need to play him in the game. But I don't know that Kevin Stefanski might not do the same thing in that game in the second game. It's just, but Nick Sirianni will not play his quarter. He doesn't want to get anybody hurt. And I guess that's the issue. He won't play I guess teams, let me ask you this. Teams that are trying to find out who their quarterback is, would you play on them? Pittsburgh's trying to find their starter. I guess Cleveland's trying to find their starter. Would you play on those teams?
Yeah, it's critically important to know who the rotations are, the quarterback rotations, because lots of times the starter may be the number one guy on the roster, but he will only play a quarter, maybe at most. But you need to know who's going to be in behind the starter, the second and the third, and maybe even the fourth string quarterbacks. And if they're battling for a job, like those are in Cleveland right now, there's 4 quarterbacks that are in a battle for a job. I think that only enhances the chances of the team that's in that underdog role. You mentioned Kevin Stefanski. I'll throw this at you. Since he's been a coach with the Browns, he's been an underdog 6 times in preseason. He's not lost to the spread one time.
As an underdog?
As an underdog, yes.
How about that?
Underdog at Philadelphia, yes, he will.
And yes, you're right. He will be an underdog against the Eagles here in Philadelphia. There's no question. And who knows what his quarterback rotation is? I don't know if he'll announce it before the game, which might give you a better idea. All right. So the preseason, the 3 teams that, if you're looking to do something, would be Baltimore, the Raiders, and Buffalo, right? And 3 teams that you wouldn't play on would be Washington, Cincinnati, and the Eagles in terms of betting. Correct?
Correct. Right. And if you're an extremely patient person who doesn't believe in quantity but more quality, you might want to wait. There's one matchup amongst those head coaches where a bad coach plays a good coach. And that'll be August 23rd, the last week of preseason, when Baltimore plays Washington, Harbaugh against Quinn. You know one coach is going to come to play. You doubt the other is. But the problem with that is Vegas is caught on to John Harbaugh. And it showed last year because the spreads in his games were really obviously inflated to the point where he was winning games and not covering point spreads. So you have to be careful about value, and that's what it's all about, value first and foremost. But mark that down, August 23rd, Baltimore, Washington. And if you feel you're not getting raped to the number, and if you can find Baltimore at a pick or an underdog, I think you got the right side of the
All
game.
right. Well, August 23rd would be the last preseason game for those teams, correct?
Yes, it would. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
And normally coaches don't play a lot of their starters. If the ones that they don't have to play, they don't play in the last preseason game. I wonder, does John Harbaugh play his starters to try to win the game?
Yes, he does.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why one reason why John Harbaugh wins games. In his career, he's 45-16 in preseason. 61 games, he won 45 of them on the scoreboard. And he's 39-20 to the point spread. So
Still
he
good.
plays starters probably more than length of time than any other team does, and it's because of his philosophy.
You know what? All right. So is that game at Washington or in Baltimore? Not that it makes a difference.
At Washington, of which it won't be much of a travel factor, obviously, for Baltimore, and
Right.
maybe priced as a home game for Washington in that sense. So, like I say, if you can get pick or dog in that game to Baltimore, that has to be a play.
All right. Now, college football, let's take a little preview look. And there might be some specifics with teams. But the portable and the NIL have screwed up so many different things with the way to handicap games. How do you look approaching college football?
Well, one of our philosophies used to be, Howard, looking for teams that were stacked with returning starters to begin the season in the opening month of the season because they had an advantage. That's been taken away because of this rotten transfer portal, and it forever has diminished. But what does work, there's one thing that continues to work, and it's called what we call RPR, Returning Production Ranking. And basically what that means is teams, how many players from the 2 and 3 deep come back to this football program. And a friend of mine, Bill Conley from ESPN, he's the college football guru there. He puts together a list every year, and I have it in our Playbook Preview Guide magazine of what each team has. So you're looking for the team that brings the most returning production back. So how do you weigh returning production when your team's been gutted by transfer portal and bringing new players in? Well, that's the formula that Conley puts together because he weighs how much starting time, playing time a person coming in from the portal had from the other program, and if he'll slot into this new team. I will say this, that using this formula, this RPR formula, the number one team in his rankings has been a rock-solid winner every year, and especially in the opening month of September. That team this year is Clemson. They have a swing. He's got the number one ranked team in returning production rankings. And if you do nothing else and you did anything and you're going to go on a worldwide vacation, you ordered up to just play Clemson every game throughout the college football season, you'll come back with more money than you left with.
All right. So, but the numbers could affect that. I would think that Clemson's going to be favored in most of those games, correct?
Well, they will be, and obviously you're going to look, to look for the best situation for Clemson because it still involves a handicap. It always involves a handicap. But what it also does is it keeps me away from, if Clemson's playing somebody that I like, it'll keep me away from that team because I know what Clemson's going to have this football season. They're going to be very, very talented, very, very deep. And the results confirm what I'm saying here, that because of that, they're going to end up being a successful football team. But they will be priced. They'll be the favorite, and they'll win the ACC this year.
You know what? I wonder how many people are going to bet on North Carolina in a lot of games because of Bill Belichick. And it's easier to cheat in college than it is in the NFL. And I'm sure he'll find a way to start cheating in some way, shape, or form. That's really hard to analyze because he's never been a college football coach. Do you think the numbers might be a little push towards Belichick, and it might be a good play in certain situations to take the other side.
We're going to find out right away in the opening month of September how Vegas looks at Bill Belichick. I think they're going to weigh him a little bit more because he is Bill Belichick. He's got these Super Bowl rings that nobody in college football knows anything about. And he'll be priced. He'll be priced accordingly. Favorite at home against TCU his first week of the season here. That's the press is going to be all on North Carolina and all on Bill Belichick. And I'll say this, TCU has a really nice football team this year. So they're going to have to step up and perform. I don't know if Bill Belichick really knows what he's doing. The truth be known, Howard, when Tom Brady left New England, he was just an average coach. They didn't do anything. They didn't go anywhere. They didn't win much of anything. So now he's taking over North Carolina. A lot of name and reputation coming in here, and I think it'll spell a lot of value to fade or play against North Carolina Bill Belichick in the right circumstance.
You know what? It's funny you say he's just an average coach after Brady, who also cheated, but that's another story. They both cheated. They both, they're both cheaters. But Brady is really good. I don't think Belichick, or Belichick, as I like to call him, is that good. But I have said I do not think all time he is one of the top 5. He can't come into the top 5 of coaches. Have you ever looked at that?
Well, are you talking from a win-loss percentage standpoint?
I'm just looking as a coach. Andy Reid, I think, is the best coach. All right. You've got to say Bill Walsh is in there. You've got to say Chuck Noll is in there. You got to say Tom Landry is in there. You got to say Don Shula is in there. I think John Harbaugh is a better coach than Belichick.
Well, John Harbaugh may today be that better coach than Bill Belichick, but I think everything is graded on results. Results go probably the weight against the amount of rings that he carries on his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And he won a Super Bowl at Cleveland as an assistant before he took over a head coaching job. He's a strategist. He's very, very good defensively, but you're only as good as the people that surround you. And that's been fortunate for Bill Belichick because of Tom Brady and all the talent that was brought in around all that. That talent's not going to be here at North Carolina. I'm not short-circuiting your comment about Belichick and being the best, but you can't. It's hard to argue with the person that's got 7 Super Bowl rings that he's not right up at the top of the rank.
Well, see, I have an answer for that too, because I don't think he's got 7. I think he only should have 5, because Kyle Shanahan went brain dead when he was calling plays for Atlanta. They're on the 21. I'll never forget this 21-yard line, run 3 plays, kick the field goal, go up 11. There's about 7 minutes left, and there's no way that the Patriots would win that game. So that's one he shouldn't have won. Number 2, Pete Carroll. I don't even remember who the offensive coordinator was. You have 1 timeout left, and he neglected to mention that after the game. You run Marshawn Lynch from the 1.5-yard line. If he doesn't make it, then you can call a timeout, and then you can throw a pass. But don't do it at that point when Russell Wilson was really not a good red zone quarterback for the Seattle team. So I don't give him 2 Super Bowls. So I'm taking 2 of them away. So those rings should go to other teams.
Ring away as well than at Cleveland.
Yeah.
They didn't win it because of Belichick.
Well, that's correct too. All right. So now let's take a look. Is there something you look at going into, and we got some time to talk about it, into professional football, the regular season? Are there teams or things or that you look at especially early?
Well, what we're going to do, obviously, what the most popular thing is fading Super Bowl losers, which would be Kansas City this year. And it won't be difficult for me to do that because there'll be a lot of value fading Kansas City this year. That's held up the longest of just about anything as far as systems or angles are concerned. And Kansas City is a very popular, high-priced football team, so I won't have a problem at all fading Kansas City in the right roles. Surprisingly, and I was a little bit surprised at this because you and I have talked about this before in the past, but the defending Super Bowl winners generally are winning teams. I mean, they have, number one, very seldom they don't make it back to the playoffs. Number two, it's very seldom they're not point spread winners. The teams aren't. And you would think it would be the opposite because of the X being on their back, the focus. But I wouldn't be surprised if Philadelphia ends up with a pretty good football season again this year. Now, winning back-to-back Super Bowls is another question, but I think Philadelphia will at least have a good season and make it back to the playoffs and perhaps push to make it to the Super Bowl.
All right, so the second game of the season, the Eagles play Kansas City, which would be a revenge game, obviously, from the Super Bowl. At Kansas City, it'll be interesting to see what the number is. I would think Kansas City might be like a 2-point favorite just because they're in Kansas City. You have the Super Bowl loser in the second game and the Super Bowl winner in the second game. Although Nick Sirianni has said this week that they're not defending champions. He doesn't want to hear that. Well, let me break the news to him. He is a defending champion, whether he wants the players to believe that or not. He is a defending champion. But would you have some kind of trend or analysis towards that second game?
Well, let me set the table here and say this. I talked about Super Bowl losers and playing against them. The primary role to play against the Super Bowl loser is when he's on the road away from home and he's favored in a non-division game. That's the goal. So that's obviously not the role here. The week after, when the Chiefs go to the New York Giants, and just imagine if they dispose of Philadelphia, the Giants feeling good that they got their revenge. Now we're going to kick in to fading the Super Bowl loser when he's going to be playing against the Giants with Baltimore on deck. So there's really optimal time to play this situation. Now, the game itself, Philadelphia and Kansas City, I got to see what happens to Kansas City as they come back from the Chargers game that they're opening up with in Brazil, I believe. Is that correct?
Oh, I don't even know that. Oh, that's brutal. Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
So, and that's
they're
long.
They're opening up in Brazil against the Chargers. Kansas City is.
And they can't be playing on a Sunday. They can't be playing on a Sunday, right? I'm trying to.
Well, they've got. Let me see. I'm looking at the schedule here. They've got the games on. Well, there's 9 days in between, so they're playing on I believe a Thursday or a Friday. So
well, the Eagles play on a Thursday against the Cowboys to open the season, so they're probably playing on the Friday. They probably play on the Friday to give them some time.
But the Chiefs open against the Chargers in Brazil.
Yep.
And the situation is, how will the Chiefs? What will happen in that game? Will it be a letdown? Will they be flat from having that travel factor to Brazil? So much in handicapping football is almost always based upon what happened in the last game.
Right.
So we have a lot of if comes in this situation here, but it is not going to be, I don't think, a favorable situation for Kansas City when they go to Philadelphia.
No, they actually, the Eagles go to Kansas City. The game is in Kansas City.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So we got to look and see what's that?
The second week of the season?
Second week of the season, the Eagles play in Kansas City.
Yes, they're in Kansas City. That's correct.
Right. So we got to see what happens the first week. Is there any other teams early other than the Super Bowl winner and loser that you like to look at early, or it's kind of based on what they do coming in to maybe after the first game?
Well, it's real easy, and I love doing this, is fading these popular teams early on in the season, especially these guys that won an inordinate amount of games the previous year. I look for teams that won 14 or more games, 13 or more really to start. But if they won 14 or more games, they're very, very popular to the public. Mm-hmm. 13 game Baltimore wins last year. I'm going to look to fade them. I think they're going to struggle in the month of September. They're going to be very, very popular. They're going to play Buffalo, Detroit, and Kansas City. Real tough schedule here with Cleveland wedged in between all of that. Browns are a division game, yes, but Baltimore is a very, very popular public team. They won 13 games last year. I'll be looking to fade them more often than I'll play them, especially the month of September.
All right. So wasn't there a trend, and we'll conclude with this, wasn't there a trend with the Super Bowl winner for the first 5 games of the season? The first game, you usually like to play on them, and then you got to be careful in games 2 through 5. Didn't that used to be a trend?
That was a trend, exactly. But it's kind of watered down in a sense, in that it goes back to what we opened the conversation with, how well Super Bowl winners have performed here lately. Mm-hmm. And so it's stripped a little bit of that away. But there's a spot to play on them. The first game of the season, Super Bowl winners are still good, solid plays. They're going to prove their worth and so forth and whatnot. But on the whole, I'm going to say Super Bowl winners are look to make a case for them rather than fade them throughout the whole season here. And I don't know if that game 1 through 5 still holds. I'll turn that into the database. I'll strip it down, and we'll come back and we'll visit that on our next visit.
Okay. All right, Mark. And the next visit, we'll try to straighten that out where we can get the video and the audio.
That sounds good.
All right. Hey, Mark, have a great weekend and enjoy the preseason, whatever it is that you do with it. All right.
Well, I have my Sunday go to church clothes on, so I'll go take them off now, Howard, because we never did make the video. We'll do it next week, okay?
Okay, you got it. All right, Mark Lawrence, thanks. Yeah, have a great weekend. Yeah, it's sorry we got the information. We didn't get the video part of them, but we got the audio part of them. And we're still, and I want to talk to the people here. We had one Cowboy fan. I don't care if the Cowboy fans come in because I am going to tear their rear ends apart with how bleeped up that organization is, that team is. Micah Parsons is a joke. Somebody pointed out the best coaches. I think Joe Gibbs is ahead of Bill Belichick as well. But we're going to talk to you, but there's things that I certainly want to talk about. I want to hear, I know you're all excited about the Phillies trades. I'm not sure that they're better than a few other teams in the National League. And Bryce Harper has to hit. He has to hit. And he's not hitting. He's hitting about 260. He's not hitting home runs. The fact that he got thrown out of the first game that in the Detroit series with Philadelphia, he did swing. Whether he doesn't believe it or not, it just move on. The umpire made a call. Hey, listen, if the pitch was bad, the pitch was bad, and you checked your swing too late because when you cross the plane of the plate, that is, and even get into the plane of the plate, that's a swing. He did swing. I understand last night at the ballpark, they didn't show it on replay. They never show replays where the player of the home team is incorrect. It's not a decision maker. I'm sure they showed the replay of Bryson Stott being safe when they saw he was safe on the replay. But it doesn't matter because the umpires don't look at that anyway. So your thoughts on the Phillies? Listen, Duran is a good reliever, very good reliever. But there's other issues that the Phillies have, and I still think they have issues with the lineup. And Harrison Bader, as I said earlier on the show, this is his sixth team in 9 years. If he was that good, why is it the sixth team in 9 years? Now, he's a good defensive player, and he's certainly better than Marsh and better than Rojas, but you still need offense in that lineup. All right. Other thing, all right, we have a caller. All right, let's put George up on the show.
Howard, good morning. Happy Saturday to you.
Hey, you too.
Hey,
what's up?
Oh man, that's good. It's great, and they learned some new stuff from him. The new statistic here he put out there, the RPR. That's good.
Well, that's all right. And the thing is, I like to make picks as well, and I use some of Mark's thoughts to try to decide which games I win. But all the money and people pay on my website, howardeskin.com, and all the money goes to two SPCAs, Brandywine Valley SPCA and Providence Animal Center. So it's all for a good cause anyway.
I'm a big animal advocate, so I might check that out, Howard, for you. Hey, regarding Micah Parsons, I don't want him. Don't want him. He was a head case in high school, head case in college. He's still a head case. He's a cancer to a team. I don't want him in Philly. No,
you know what? Cowboy Jim is a moron, a dope, and a nitwit. He's all three of them, and probably more after that. But Eagles fans want him. The fans that don't understand, why would you want a troublemaker and a me guy? He's a me guy. He's a me guy, and all he cares about is his money. You know what? You're not going to get a deal done. play your ass off, and by the middle of the season, they're going to have to sign you because they don't want you to go. And they could franchise him for 1 year, but if they franchise him, the way that money's going now, he'll still get what, 20 to 30 million dollars.
Correct.
You know, it's not chump change. It's not, it's only for 1 year, but I don't know what the franchise tag would be on his position, depending on how you label his position.
Just don't want him. I don't. It's just he's too much of a headache, and you don't need that in that locker room. You just don't. And you know what? Go somewhere else. Go somewhere else.
All right. So now the Eagles, everybody's got the Eagles going back to the Super Bowl. And I say everybody, the fans do. And most of the NFL people think, and they are right now, the Eagles clearly are the best team in the NFC. Things happen. It's just, Merrill Reese was on the last show and he pointed out the most important player is Jalen Carter. Now didn't practice more than 3 or 4 days in camp, but I don't think he's really hurt. I think there might be a little thing to keep him out of there, but you can't lose players to injury, and that's the big thing. And they didn't last year.
Talked about Mark said about the first. You said this, and I agree with you because you talked about we had a show and I came on with you where you asked us how many wins we thought the Eagles would have, and I had told you the first 5 weeks this team's gonna be 2-2 in my opinion. We said that. And I think that's going to hold true here. I really think that's what you brought up, that the Super Bowl champion through week 1 through 5. I think that holds case this year as well. I think the Eagles could be very well 2-2.
You know what? I thought that Kansas City was a good chance to win the game too because it was a revenge game. However, I didn't realize they were playing in Brazil the first week. You got to think about that. But they're probably, I could check the schedule quickly, but they're probably playing on a Friday. The Eagles play on the Thursday. I would think they're probably playing on a Friday. You can't have them play on a Sunday and then play the next week coming back from Brazil. That's a disgrace. And they have a longer flight than the Eagles have from Kansas than the Eagles had last year. Right. That's a joke. The NFL is a complete joke when it has teams playing in Brazil. It's all about their money. It's not about the quality of play. It's not about what's good or bad for a team. It's bad for a team to play in Brazil. It's just, and then there's other issues in Brazil, but nonetheless, it's a beautiful place with a lot of crime. But that's not the point. The point is, it's a brutal travel for the team. It's travel. If they're playing the Chargers, are they playing the Chargers the first week?
Yeah, they are playing the Chargers, and I think it's.
Oh my God, the Chargers have a longer trip. They have a longer trip coming from because Brazil's coming this way towards the east. They have a longer trip than Kansas City.
What you're saying the following week, you may want to bet against the Chargers in week 2.
Well, you might want to get it. I would bet against both of them. And the worst you can do is, I think, go 1-1. I would go against both of them. But because Kansas City playing the Eagles the second game of the season is a revenge game, I would think from the Super Bowl, I would have a hard time. Going against Kansas City. Well, you know what? They play on a Friday. Kansas City and the Chargers play on the Friday. Kansas City right now is the favorite, and they should be the favorite. But I don't know that I wouldn't take the Chargers in that game. That's the thing. And then the next week, the Eagles and Kansas City play on a Sunday. So, but whatever. It gives them kind of enough time. And the Chargers play the Raiders on they play on Sunday. They play on Monday. So the Chargers get an extra day. The Chargers play on Monday.
So Howard, in regards to baseball, and you just said it before I came on, who do you like in the National League? I like San Diego. I had picked LA before the season to repeat. I like what San Diego has in there. I mean, we hear about the Mets. San Diego looks to be tough.
I didn't pay much attention to San Diego, but now after all the trades they made, they're going for it. I would think San Diego's in the mix. Milwaukee is really, really a good team. By the way, if the Phillies have to play Milwaukee, unless the Phillies win 3 out of 3 when they play at Milwaukee, and they still have to play at Milwaukee, the series is going to be in Milwaukee because Milwaukee already won 3 straight.
In Philly.
Yeah. Yeah, they already run 3 in a row. So the Phillies have to win. They definitely have to win all 3. And then, well, I don't know what the next tiebreaker would be. Are they
I
going
think
to win all 3
I-
in Milwaukee? I don't think so.
the NL East is pretty weak out of the 3 divisions in the NL.
It's the Phillies and the Mets, and then Milwaukee and the Cubs. Don't discount the Cubs. They didn't make many trades, but I don't know that they had to make a lot of trades. The Cubs, it wouldn't shock me that this could be the Cubs' year. But you're right about San Diego. I don't count the Dodgers as a real factor. I really don't count the Dodgers, but whatever. So, all right, your record for the Eagles. Before we go, your record for the Eagles. You may have given it to me already.
Before I said 11 or 12 wins and you thought that was pretty much on, I'm still going to stick by that. You know what I mean? I get excited about players doing something in camp. Just don't get injured to the starters. Stay healthy and get to the season. I think the key is the first 5 weeks. I've said this when I said 11 or 12 wins. If they come out 3-1, because I have them losing at Tampa Bay, Howard. I have them losing at
That game's in Tampa. Yeah, that would be. They're lucky they play. They get a break in the schedule. They play Detroit and the Rams here. They play the Chargers out there, but the Chargers won't be a tiebreaker. But they play the Rams and Detroit in Philadelphia.
You just got to look at the schedule. They don't have back-to-back home games, Howard. Just look at it. They don't have back-to-back home games.
Who, the Eagles?
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as they don't play, and they don't play 3 in a row on the road, it's okay.
The schedule is brutal. I mean, I'm still going to stick by
11. But it's a brutal schedule. It's a brutal schedule. Hey,
11 12 is where I'm at.
All right, I'm going to play. By the way, are the Eagles defending champions?
Howard, who won the Super Bowl last year?
Okay, you answered the question. All right, well, listen to Nick Sirianni. I'm going to play him right now too. Thanks, George. Thanks for joining the show. It's just Nick Sirianni is trying so hard to say the Eagles are not defending champions. Let's hear, and this is earlier in the week, and I played it with Merrill, and Merrill couldn't hear it. He stammered a little bit to start the answer to the question. It's like, why? And that you're not defending champions. But here's the gist of here's all of what he said.
Thing that you do in the past. Now you can look back at your past experiences and learn from them, but no one, like, this isn't boxing where it's like you're the champ until someone takes your belt away. No, this is football. Everyone starts off 0-0. And I think 2 mistakes that you could make is resting on your laurels and or looking too far ahead, right? Thinking too much about the past, or looking too far ahead. I mean, that's been our mindset since day one, has been be where your feet are, be focused on that, because nothing that we did is going to influence anything that we want to do in the future. So it is about the daily work, regardless if you're coming off of, a 9-8 season, a 14-3 season, an 11-6 season, or a 14-3 season. It's the work that you put in that is going to get you ready for the games here. So we don't. Again, that's just been our mindset. I don't think anything's changed. I don't think that it's, hey, I decided to do this this year with this message. No, this has been the consistent message all the way through, and that's just where our focus is.
Well, all right. So let me address that. They are the defending champions. Don't compare it to boxing, because the boxer can't worry about his last fight. He's got to worry about his next fight. That's all you had to say. Hey, listen, by reality, we won the Super Bowl, but we can't think about the Super Bowl. We can't come into this season and say, oh, we're that good, or we're the Super Bowl champions. That's fine. But don't kind of poo-poo it and say, we're not defending champions. The first game they play, that's what the announcers are going to say on the air. They're the defending Super Bowl champions. When they play Kansas City the second week of the season, they're the defending Super Bowl champions. Yeah, I guess Nick doesn't want the Eagles to put down the Super Bowl banner before the first game, because before the first game, they'll have a ceremony where they'll drop the banner before they play the Dallas Cowboys, and it's going to say Super Bowl champion 2024 Philadelphia Eagles on the banner. You can't walk away from that, but you can't base everything you do on that. There's a different way to approach. I think Nick Sirianni is a terrific coach, but that's ridiculous. All right, I do want to. I have a question for you to try to win. Let's put up our last winner, if you have that, Joe, of the Chickies and Pete's gift certificate. You'll have a lot of good stuff. You'll enjoy your time at Chickies and Pete's. Brett Bolton, you were the winner, and the question was, what was Merrill Reese's most memorable game? And his most memorable game, excluding Super Bowls, was the game in 2010 in December against the New York Giants when Deshaun Jackson ran in what was one of the miracle of the Meadowlands. And Deshaun Jackson ran back the punt on the last play of the game. And they came back from 31-10. There were so many memories in that game. Brett, you won the gift certificate, and we'll get it out to you. Congratulations, and enjoy your time at Chickies and Pete's. We'll have another question coming up. But before we do that, I want to again thank our presenting sponsor, Jeff Stillwell Financial Advisors. Every time I talk to him, I learn something about investments. Jeff Stillwell is a really sharp guy when it comes to investing your wealth, whatever wealth you may have. I mean, the worst, I mean, you can't do any worse than to check it out. Give Jeff a call. He knows his stuff. He's a good guy. 732-343-0813. 732-343-0813. And he is the presenting sponsor of the Howard Eskin Show. I do want to talk about Daryl Morey. The Eagles, I don't know that there's anything really dramatic to report at camp. The first preseason game is coming up. Unfortunately, you won't see most of the starters for a long period of time. I would imagine that Jalen Hurts might play a quarter. I don't know that he needs to play. Well, I think he needs to play more than that, but I'm not the head coach. I don't think he'll play more than that. But their first preseason game comes up against Cincinnati, and then they have the joint practice the second week. But I want to talk about Daryl Morey. But before I do that, actually today, I think what I'm going to do is, and on Saturdays, I usually like to pop out to Audi Westchester. And I like to pop out because even though I drive the A6, even though I also have a Q5, I like to look at the other vehicles, and I always look through the showroom. And the last couple of times I've been there, I see that they've gotten a lot of new cars delivered to their facility. They have a great facility. It's a new facility, and you will see the selection of automobiles. And that means because they have a great selection of the new automobiles, new Audi vehicles. They have a great selection of pre-owned vehicles because they have a couple of dealerships that they deal with. Audi Westchester, you will have fun. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Grab yourself some snacks, a cup of coffee. 1420, the location, 1421 Wilmington Pike. 1421 Wilmington Pike. Easy to get to. Audi Westchester. Check them out on the internet, AudiWestchester.com. And, at this time of the year, especially through the summer, you like to have your property look nice, right? Whether you're going to build a pool, and a lot of people will build pools, and the people to do it are Piazza Property Pros with their 25 years of experience. But they will take care of your landscaping, which I have them do with my landscaping. Always looks great after they're done. Piazza Property Pros, whether it's building a pool, and if you waited to make that decision, just make it. Hey, give them a call and figure it out. Whether it's building a pool, whether it's pool maintenance, whether it's a landscaping, fencing, excavation, whatever it is, Piazza Property Pros can do it for you. Give them a call. I mean, get a free consultation. Pretty easy. 610-566-2608. 610-566-2608. Check them out on the internet, piazzaoutdoor.com. All right. The Eagles. We've talked about the Phillies, and we'll see. I mean, there's still 2 months to go in the season, and I still am not. I'm not a fan of their lineup, and if and you can't move Bryce Harper out of the 3 spot in the lineup. You can't move him out because he doesn't want to be moved out of the lineup, and that's part of it. It's just, it's just not a good lineup. I mean, they have some players in there that if they hit home run, Schwarber is there's no question in their lineup. Their best player in their lineup is Schwarber. And the fact that he's not hitting 230 is good. He's always going to walk. He's hitting 250, 260. That's what he'll do. But Schwarber playing for a contract, and he's going to get a lot of money. And whether the Phillies are going to pay for it or not is another story. That is another story. Cowboys fans, I think I've ripped them justifiably. I see, I don't even know if this is a name, TLEOIPL, whatever that name is, making fun of the Cowboys fans. And they are dopes. Somebody also tells me he misses Arthur. I don't even know if I hope Arthur's still alive, but he's probably in the joint. He probably got put in the joint because I have not heard from him at all. It's just, I mean, it's really kind of, it is what it is. It is what it is. Daryl Morey. Now, here's the reason that I think he's an idiot, and other people have said he's an idiot. He said the Lakers game when they won the championship, or winning a championship when they were in the bubble, is not a real championship. Daryl Morey has never got to a championship in his 13 years with Houston. He can't get past the second round with the Sixers. He has no right, whether he believes that or not, he has no right to say it. And I think the last show, I mentioned the problems with Joel Embiid. And Joel Embiid is, if I would be absolutely shocked. I would be absolutely shocked if Joel Embiid starts the season healthy or plays the opening of the season. So they have real issues. All right. So here I'm going to give you my let me see the next winner of answering the question properly. The next winner will win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. So that's the next winner. And the question is, I have a bunch of questions to choose from, and it's based on what Mark Lawrence said. There's a couple of different ways I can go here. I'm going to make it harder because it's a question. The 3 teams in professional football that he likes to look at if you're making a wager, it's not a slam dunk. The 3 teams that he likes to look at if you're making a play, a wager, whatever it is, in professional football in the preseason, the 3 teams that he thinks by trends and by past history that he likes to play on this year. And if you answer the question correctly, you will win. And you got to answer it by Tuesday night by midnight. Go to my website, howardeskin.com, by midnight, Tuesday, August 5th. Watch the show on Wednesday, 7:30. whether it's on X, which I still call Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can watch them all. You can always check out all the shows on all the social media platforms. We're also on Spotify and Amazon and Apple, which is just the audio. But nonetheless, if you subscribe to YouTube, you will always be notified when I'm doing a show live. So that's the answer to the question. That's the question. You come up with an answer, and somebody with the correct answer, and there'll be multiple people that have the correct answer. And we'll select somebody at random. You will win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. Some of the comments. I don't have a stone cold mortal lock yet. Mark had some good info today. RG is the doctor. Yes, I am a PhD from Goldie Beacom. You see that on my, there it is, Goldie Beacom. I got a doctorate. I am a PhD officially. And somebody asked me what my opinion on the Eagles possibly building a dome stadium. I will say this. I don't like dome stadiums because I think weather could be a factor for teams coming in. If you have a team from the West Coast, or you're a team from Florida coming in, dome teams. When's the last time a dome team won a Super Bowl? I can't think of it. I don't like the fact. I love Lincoln Financial Field. I don't like the fact of a new stadium. It's really about finances, but I don't like a new stadium. But I see that, so hopefully that answers your question. Get well, Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid has got to do a lot of things to get well, a lot. So I don't know that. Let me see if I got any other things. No, an NFL owner that is also a GM has a fool for an owner. That's a good point, Pat. That would be Jerry Jones. Too many strikeouts and horrible situational hitting by the Phillies. That is correct. The guy says Manster won Piazza cornering another market. Well, we're heard all over the world. I don't think Piazza will go all over the world. So all those things. So, Howard, have your mink coat wearing bobblehead likeness. I have. Oh, he says he has it. Manster has it. We had somebody win it. All right. Anyway, I try to read the comments while I do the show, so I try to do all that. But you're always welcome to join the show, calling in or joining in. And Mark Lawrence will join us once we get into football season. I guess once college football starts, and that starts before pros, we'll have Mark on Saturdays, and we will try to help you, and I will try to help you putting out games on my website to try to raise money for two really, really good organizations, Brandywine Valley SPCA and Providence Animal Centers. Everybody, have a great weekend. We'll see you on Wednesday. And there's a long way to go in baseball season. And Bryce Harper, don't argue with the umpires. They're not right all the time, but it just does you no good. And that umpire will always remember you if he's behind the plate. So I would suggest that's not a good thing to do. That's not a good thing to do. And you did swing. Bryce Harper did swing on that third strike. Everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for joining the Howard Eskin Show. Thanks to our sponsors, our presenting sponsor, Stillwell Financial Advisors, and Audi Westchester. And I'm going to stop at Audi Westchester today, this afternoon. If you're by there, I'll see you. And Piazza Property Pros. Everybody have a great weekend. Thanks again.